Hello everybody, welcome to Broadcast. My name is Ben Viglo, and today I am joined by Elite.
Good evening.
And LaFawn.
How's it going?
And today we're going to have for you Ungentleman Red versus Team Bliss. Ungentleman Red, of course, being a very commonly seen team here. They sign up for a lot of screen time. But Team Bliss is new.
Yeah, I've casted a lot of UG Red when I've been here casting, so I'm excited to see them. Watched a lot of them, casted a lot of them, but like you said, Team Bliss, brand new. I've never seen them before, so I'm excited to see how they play.
Yeah, so speaking of Gentleman Red, Elite, do you want to take us through the roster?
Absolutely. On Gentleman Red, their team captain, like always, is Scooty. He's always up there, and he has the Diva profile. That's his favorite hero. And then they also have Rhino. He's their other tank. Or actually, he plays DPS. This is different than how the other line is. Anyway, Rhino, he plays DPS, and he likes to play a lot of Tracer. And then they also have Exile and Banana, who are unable to be here this evening. But they also have Bullywug and Fat Chop. That's another tank in DPS. And then they have Cod Fishy is going to fill in and sub tonight for Exile. And then they have Baker down there to fill in for Banana Bolt. So they're going to have 2 subs in on support for in Gentleman Red. They've been together for, some players on here have been together for about a year, so they should have a lot of synergy. And they like to run a lot of dive comps, and they like to play Gibraltar. I've seen them play on Gibraltar. They usually play very well, so I'm excited to see how UG Red plays tonight.
All right, LaFawn, would you like to take us through this other team, Bliss?
Bliss, absolutely. We've got, of course, starting at the top, MooshuBeef. They are team captain, the Reinhardt main tank actually, followed up by Shorty here, as well as Shorty on the Mercy, honestly, that support role. Shao, their DPS player, notably hit scan necessarily, followed by Tremolo, their Zen Lucio player. So again, that flex support position, and then Bayoni, again, flex DPS, so Genji Tracer, and then finally, last but not least, Zui, their off-tank player. Between these two teams, I mean, we have a good show tonight. Looking forward to getting into these maps.
All right, speaking of the maps, we're going to be seeing Oasis as our first map for Control. Generally, these teams like to go Control, Escort, Assault, Hybrid, then another Control, which is the order for Open Division, which most of these teams that we cast are in. So we're probably going to see that same order here today. I don't know if we're going to have map resets. It looks like the score to win is 2, so we're only going to see a best of 3, not a best of 5 like we sometimes see, so that teams can practice all the maps.
Okay.
How do y'all think these teams are going to do on these?
Well, I've seen on Gentleman Red play a lot, so I know that they like to run a lot of dive comps. I haven't seen Scooty play a lot of anything other than Diva. So, but last time I watched on Gentleman Red, they kind of got taken out. So I'm excited to see how they come back and play. They have 2 subs in, so it's not the roster that we're used to. But I'm excited to see how they play, but I'm really excited to see Team Bliss. Like you said, we've never seen them before, so I'm excited to see how they come out and play. It actually says on their notes that they like to run quad tank, so that will be very interesting to see, and I'm excited to see Team Bliss.
One of the things we should bring up, just before we can really get into what these two teams compare against, I haven't had a chance to watch either of the teams in depth, so it's coming to sort of dissect both these teams is kind of tough. But to mention, we did have a new patch drop the other day, Tuesday to be precise, so yesterday, not much more than 28 hours ago, which reduced the effectiveness of Mercy. And as a result, we're going to be seeing a lot of meta shifts here in this current Scrim session, or this current game as we get ready and get set. I'm kind of looking forward to see what these teams bring out. Will we see that quad tank? Will we see that triple DPS? Will we go back to just pure old dive with that Lucio Zen combination? These are the questions that I'm kind of looking forward to seeing answered. And I kind of want to see what you guys think about, how is the meta going to be flexing as we go forward, especially seeing as Mercy's role has now been reduced from basically a must pick to a more niche role.
I mean,
Absolutely.
I feel like definitely we're going to see less Mercy. These teams are sick and tired of Mercy. They're going to be trying all these weird support combos, trying to see how they can fit in Moira, if Ana's viable again, how diveable is Zen right now, is Lucio better than Zen in this, and they're going to be trying to figure that out in the Scrim. So we're going to see some interesting support lineups, definitely.
Yes, in the games that I've casted in the past, it was pretty much Mercy I don't think there was a game that didn't have Mercy in it. So, like you said, LaFon, I'm interested to see who they're going to bring out and what support will come in to fill Mercy's place. I feel like we'll still see a lot of Zenyatta. It kind of seemed like Mercy Zenyatta was just the lock. It was those two every game. So I wonder if we'll still see Zenyatta every game, or I'm very interested to see what they're going to run with.
Yeah, I think we might see a lot of Zen Lucio. It's one of those things that people have been trying for a while, and considering that Zen is still considered to be very good, we're probably going to see some of that.
Yes.
I think one of the things that we could kind of expect coming in this work, and this is one thing, it's really, really tough to predict a meta before, people have actually scrimmed on it repeatedly. But my experience so far has been that Moira comps are a little bit more popular, but Zen being so ever present might mean that we're going to see some more interesting things. People that we haven't been familiar with. We haven't really seen something like a Moira Zen combination, just because they haven't really complemented each other in the past very well. But we might be able to see that moving forward. Lucio will definitely make a comeback of some sort. Ana, maybe not quite so much. She's still very, very susceptible to dive, and dive heroes are still very, very strong right now. Winston jumping in her face, Diva eating her shots, all sorts of these kind of things. So I don't think Ana will not be making as much of a comeback as some people may want or expect. But definitely the other heroes, so Lucio, Zenyatta. I mean, Zenyatta is still an ever-present support. And Moira will be, I think, taking some of the limelight here moving forward. Moira specifically, I'm looking forward to. We haven't seen a whole lot of her since she was released a couple of months ago with the dominance of Mercy. But as we see people moving towards different compositions that sort of favor her style, or perhaps different maps that favor her style, we'll be able to see a little bit more Moira coming in specifically, I think, in these upcoming sessions.
Yes, I feel it'll be a lot of. I feel like Zenyatta is still kind of a lock, and I feel like it's going to be Lucio and Moira that will swap off and on. I feel like Zen Lucio will be the popular thing now.
I disagree, because you want that big healer, and Moira is really the big healer at the moment. So I think you're going to see Moira, maybe Mercy if you're running like Pharah and stuff. Stuff where you can sit back and get that res. That's where you're going to see Mercy. But I think Moira's going to be almost a necessity.
I agree with what you said about how there's got to be someone that puts out the heavy healing. I do agree with that. I agree. But I just feel like Lucio. I feel like it'll be Lucio's in. But you make a really good point there. So it's hard for me to argue that one about how they need one heavy healer.
All right, with that pre-game situation all set up, I think it's time for us to get ready, get actually into these matches. And with that, we're going to be starting off on Oasis, Ungentleman Red, definitely going to be in the blue side, Bliss in red, as they take on the less, shall we say, buttoned up Ungentleman Red. As we get right into the map here.
Going to go on to Oasis, and Ungentleman Red is going to confuse us and be on the blue side as we get into the first game. So we'll dive into Oasis control point for the first map. What kind of hero compositions do you like to see ran here on Oasis, LaFon?
So Oasis, this is very specifically one of the different maps that you see. So this is University Center. That is the specific name of this particular control point. This is one of the few points where running that sort of death ball composition, where you're running that really big composition with tanks, the slower composition can actually work really well due to just how brawl oriented this point can get. So I wouldn't be surprised to see sort of your Reinhardt, your Hogs, your Zaryas, Moira, specifically Lucio as well. These kind of players coming to full force usually on this particular point. And I mean, we're sort of starting to see that as the Assemble Heroes comes up here. And we're sort of seeing that initial picks before we, of course, get ready for the fight.
Well, they're going to select their heroes, and we'll see what they're going to go with. Looks like over on the Bliss side, they're going to roll with the Reinhardt, just like you said, and they are going to come out with the Lucio Moira. So no Zen actually on either team as they get started. We'll see if that's what they decide to roll with. Fat Chop going to go with Doomfist, and Codfishy is going to stick with the Mercy. So I was 100% wrong, and there's no Zenyatta at all. That's why I don't play, and I only shoutcast. But nevertheless, they're going to get underway, and they're going to come out of the point here as they make their way towards the control point.
Bliss directly inside that tiny little mini health pack room as they take the initiation there with the huge, bigger health pools and the healing of Moira, looking to brawl in that corner, pushing the side of Ungentleman Red out, but in turn, it's going to be the dive of Ungentleman Red with Bullywug coming up with the cleanup. And Ungentleman Red right now sort of taking the entire space away from Bliss as they zone them out. Zarya caught out all alone by Fat Chop, Zui going down right after that. And that's going to be the point early on to Ungentleman Red. They're zoned out. Bliss relatively efficiently, not really losing a whole lot. And Bliss just folded like a pack of cards, despite their superior health pool.
Absolutely. Ungentleman Red came right out and wiped out nearly the entire team. No one on Ungentleman Red was taken down. They pushed in right in. Fat Chop was able to come in and cause a lot of aggression, a lot of disruption. But now, Bliss will try to push back in and get this one ready. Fat Chop's going to dive in right up here in the middle. He's trying to focus down Genji. That's Bayani there. Still in there. He's going to switch his focus over to MooshuBeef. But now as this fight gets underway, the Earthshatter will come out from MooshuBeef, and a lot of people are going to go down for UG Red and Bliss. And Bliss is going to definitely come out on top here in this fight. 5 people are down, and now it's just Bullywug in here. And he's taking on, can't take on everybody as he gets wiped out. And Bliss will come up with a clean kill there to take the point for themselves.
That was an interesting composition there, as they did use a support ultimate from Cogfishy, as now switching over to that Moira from the Mercy. Didn't get much value out of that Valkyrie. They did zone them out, but the Earthshatter from MooshuBeef really zoned them out. And into that next fight, the Pulse Bomb on MooshuBeef right away picks up 2, and that's going to be another 2 from Fat Chop with that Doomfist ultimate there.
Came out with the ult there, and no one was even able to put up a fight there for Bliss. 2 great ults from the DPS as that fight got underway, with the Doomfist ult as well as the Pulse Bomb out from Rhino. And UG Red comes right back in to take them point for themselves with next to no fight put up from Bliss.
Bliss definitely taking the advantage there of the lower end of the stick, so to speak. Fat Chop in with the Doomfist, misses, but Bullywug right in after him to clean up, and that's going to be an initial pick from Shao. The Sound Barrier right after as they continue this barrage on the defensive side, so Ungentleman Red will be going to a man and clean up Bliss. No ultimates used aside from that Sound Barrier, so that one defensive ult, and otherwise a very clean fight. So 1 ult win there for the side of Ungentleman Red, as they are now creeping up onto that 80% mark and higher here on this first control point on Oasis. And now up to Bliss to turn the tides.
Good fight there for UG Red. Like you said, only burned 1 ult. Scooty and Bullywug still both with theirs, and the Graviton Surge will come out. Bayani's going to follow with his Dragon Blade. He'll get 2 kills right away as he takes out a DPS and a support. Now he'll hang out here on the back lines as Bliss takes the point. The fight's going to continue on as Bullywug pops his Primal Rage, and he's right up here in the middle. As all this is going on, Bliss was able to take the point for themselves. Bullywug is trying to focus down MooshuBeef, and he will as he gets taken out. As all this is going on, like I said, they were able to take the point. Action still going in there on the point. Couple ultimates up for Bliss as Bullywug is actually just going to fall off the map. So as the fight comes to an end, Bliss will come out on top. They'll take the point, and they'll start to creep their way up to try to catch up with UG Red up at 93%.
Bullywug there resetting to get back with his team for that 6-man push. And interesting Earthshatter by MooshuBeef. He Earthshatter the back line as they were all out from the fight, but didn't get much value from it dropping to his death. As a result, though, here comes the engage from UG Red. Bliss charging in. MooshuBeef with that Reinhardt. The Pulse Bomb whiffs as it hits the shield and is dropped immediately to feet. Sound Barrier out now from the defense. The ultimate's coming through now, but Fat Chop will go down. There's the Earthshatter. High Noon from on farm. MooshuBeef charges in. A bunch of ultimates used here from Bliss as they are going to clean up the fight. Scooty does dash out, trying to keep in that mech for as long as possible. The kill from Bayani at the last frag moment, and that's going to be the end of the fight. This is now inching ever closer to that last fight for the point, and Bliss not a whole lot to work with.
Bliss did a great job of pushing them out, and we're going to see UG Red. This one's really creeping up towards 100%. They're going to have to get in here. Dragon Blade is up as well as more ult as well. Bullywug is going to dive in. This is going to be their last chance as we go into overtime.
The Graviton Surge is eaten though by Scooty right before he's popped out of mech, but the Dragon Blade comes through, picks up 2. It's going to be Scooty goes down, Bullywug as well, and this is going to be cleanup now for the side of Bliss as they take out the remainder of the side of UG Red, turning around a 93% fight and take round 1, 100 to 93.
Yes, they clean 6-0 there for the end. Wow. Clean 6-0 for Bliss as they take that one. We're going to get a replay here. Why don't you talk us through this replay, LaFon?
definitely just a clean end to that fight there. A bit of a miscommunication from Zui as he puts it directly into the matrix of Scooty right before Scooty's brought out of mech. But thankfully, due to the heroics of Bayani, I should say, on that Genji, the Dragon Blade coming through, picking up the kills needed, and the round closing out for Bliss in this case.
So Bliss will take round 1, and we'll jump in here into round 2. We'll see what UG Red is able to do as we get on to map 2. What do you think UG Red's going to have to do hero composition-wise and whatnot to be able to take this round for themselves? They started off great. They were up to 93%, but in the end, Bliss was able to take it. What do you think UG Red's going to have to do?
A little bit more coordination. The ultimates is definitely going to be necessary for the side of UG Red, as they definitely had some interesting engagements, not really efficiently using their ultimates, kind of wasting fights when they really didn't need to. But we are into that fight, as on the high ground is Bliss taking up control of that area. Jumping now into that dive composition, running the Fire Mercy. Bayani picks up the first kill. Tremillo will clean up Bullywug. And that's going to be a clean engage from the side of Bliss, as they, to a man, will just absolutely demolish UG Red, pacing Baker all the way back to spawn, but he will have to return the hard way from the respawn timer.
Yes, Bayani absolutely wiped up there. Already 83% towards the ultimate. He's got Shorty there with a pocket, and Bayani's off to a great start on fair as this round got underway. Direct rockets left and right from him as this one got, as they ran in here. Bullywug and UG Red gonna try to push back in here, get back on this point as Bliss took it. Bullywug is just in here, taking a lot of damage, but Fat Chop is able to take out MooshuBeef, and he has the Meteor Strike ready. He's gonna dive in. Let's see who's gonna bring it down on. Gonna dive in, not able to get a kill with it though, as Bayani also takes out Rhino. And there comes the Rocket Barrage from Bayani, but he'll get taken out though by Fat Chop. But as he gets taken out, his team is still coming out on top as this fight continues on. They're pushing out Bullywug. He'll pop the Primal Rage right up here on the middle. He's trying to focus down Scooty, but he's got a lot of people with him, does Scooty. The whole squad is still here for Bliss.
Supports fragging out there as Tremillo and Shorty combined for the kill on the mech of Scooty. Of course, that really was a fight ended a long time ago. Just a cleanup crew required from the side of Bliss, as now Fat Chop has to get out, as he cannot afford to be, of the respawn right now. The first kill comes through as Quad picks up the kill on MooshuBeef, and that's not going to be able to be rezzed, as there is that long timer now, as mentioned. Bayani will fall to Rhino in the air. Transcendence out. It's going to be in the air. The self-destruct catching nobody, but this is looking a little bit more in favor of UG Red. The Resurrect coming through. Shorty does manage to pick up Bayani in the last moment. Fat Chop zoning MooshuBeef out. Will he be able to get much more of it? Does dash all the way away from the side of Bliss. And UG Red managing to lose this fight as Bliss turns it around. Fat Chop picks up one, but it's not quite enough, as there's still kills coming through. Overtime now in effect. And it's going to be a contest here. Bliss raining on damage from a high. There comes the Dragon Blade, coupled with the area effect from the rockets in the air. And this is looking very, very good as the Sound Barrier comes in from the defense. Not able to do big much. Fat Chop picks up one. Is it enough? Meteor Strike in through. And Baker, the only one left to contest, is just sliding around this tower. The barrage from on high, not finding any value whatsoever before he's taken out by Fat Chop. And now, Rhino taken out. Tremillo, the only one left contesting, or should I say Baker, the only one left contesting. But a rather extended fight here, and the self-destruct comes through. Doesn't find anything. Zhao, though, picks up one kill from the backline as he's building up for that Dragon Blade. Another kill into Fat Chop. Fat Chop doesn't manage to find anything quite yet. Another kill yet again. And finally, Zhao will clean it up. This map going to Bliss as they take it 2-0.
Bliss will take it. They will go 2-0, and Bliss will take the win. Like you said, a very long, extended fight there at the end. UG Red did their best to try to get into that point, try to take it for themselves, but they were just unable to. And like you said, Bliss is going to take the 2-0 win. Bayani played very well throughout that whole game. He switched over to fair on the second round. Was off to a great and just great play all around from Bliss as they take game one.
So we now get to see our next map, but a really clean showing there from Bliss. Aside from that first engage on that, sorry, I should say the second engage on that first point, they were otherwise in complete control of the map. Oasis definitely in their pocket. Really not much brought to them by UG Red. And UG Red seemed to be unprepared for the momentum that Bliss brought into this set. And I have to say, Bayani, of course, basically uncontested by the side of UG Red whatsoever.
The whole game played great on DPS. We saw great play from both Genji and Farah from him. And like you said, it seemed like Bliss, according to their notes, are fairly new, but it says that they have good synergy for a new team. We saw it there as they came right out, and it seemed like Red just could not keep up with Bliss as they came out with the dive, and Bliss played great all around. Bayani near single-handedly taking out UG Red on Farah as that game 2 got underway. And we will see if Bliss can keep it up. Looks like we're going to jump on to Dorado for game 2, and we'll see if UG Red can try to turn it around for this next game.
Indeed. So it's going to be... Well, we'll take a moment, but for the moment, it looks like Bliss will be attacking first and UG Red defending. That, of course, is subject to change.
I'd imagine I want to keep it this way. But one thing I noticed from that last fight, we were talking before about how these new support combos would work. I noticed that the Zen Lucio that UG Red ran on the second point city center, it didn't really work quite well for them. Would this just be just because that combo's weak, or is it something that they did? Or...
I think one of the things we have to keep in mind is a lot of these teams are finally experimenting with their support picks. And with Mercy being a must pick for so long, a lot of teams have kind of forgotten how to play with the other supports. And I don't want to say that, the supports underperformed or weren't nearly as noticeable as we would otherwise like from either side, quite frankly. But I would caution being too quick to judge the supports right away, as both teams really haven't practiced with this sort of non-Mercy meta that we sort of find ourselves in right now. And a lot of people are just now starting to figure out how to play not just without a Mercy, but how not to play without a Resurrect or the Valkyrie, and how to play with these other supports, what their limits are, how far they can go without going too far. And I think that's sort of what we're kind of seeing here, at least initially, from these two teams.
And we still saw some pocket healing there from Mercy. I was interested to see if Mercy would be played even at all. But not only was Mercy was played quite a bit by both teams. So we'll see.
I think one of the things to keep in mind, though, is that Oasis specifically is very Pharah friendly. And Pharah needs a Mercy. Otherwise, she's just a sitting duck in the air. With a Mercy, Pharah is incredibly deadly. Without a Mercy, though, she's incredibly easy to be taken down by a McCree or a Zen or a Soldier that otherwise would have a much, much tougher time were she being pocketed by a Mercy. And so that's why you'll rarely see a Pharah without a Mercy. And I think that's sort of why we saw so much Mercy on the last map. Realistically, if a Pharah is not being run, it should be less common to see Mercy as we move forward. But we did get to see a lot of Moira and Lucio, and also a lot of Zen later on into the map from the two teams. Maybe falling back to a comfort pick, but definitely finding a little more value from the Zenyatta, at least, in my experience from what we saw last game.
We'll see what they do here as both teams will run a Mercy as this one gets underway. Xiao will come out. He's on
really
Widow.
Aggressive defensive dive here, and that's going to play off immediately. Xiao goes down to Scooty from that micro missiles. The D.Va putting in a lot of damage there, being pocketed by the Mercy. That's going to be a very aggressive defensive dive here, and it's going to be taken back up to the high ground as the card's sort of stalled out right now at this very early bend, and it's going to be a retreat here right from the defensive team. They do stall off some time from the clock, however, as on the high ground, Rhino looking to stay survive from that Widowmaker on her flank. And it's looking like a really decent hold right now from the defense as they continue to get kill after kill.
Red off to a great start. Rhino right here on the back line, still trying to focus down Xiao, but he's going to get dove on by Bullywug, but it doesn't matter because... Or he got dove on by Masubi, I'm sorry, but it didn't matter anyway because as this fight continues on, UG Red still comes out on top. Rhino brought out the Pulse Bomb, was able to get a kill. Scooty got a kill as well with his self-destruct. UG Red off to a great start here as the defense gets underway. Bayani with the Rocket Barrage ready, so we'll see if Bliss can try to plan around this, try to get this payload moving. But as we're just over a minute in, they've barely got this moved at all, as UG Red has set up a great defense as this one gets underway.
UG Red with a very aggressive defensive dive here, and coming on the back line, Scooty goes in with the micro missiles. Valkyrie out right as aggressively as they continue to take this fight. Fat Chop forced to use Meteor Strike to get out, and Rhino will go down. Does pick up a kill with that Meteor Strike, however. And Scooty zoning out his counterpart D.Va as the play continues, and Zui looking to escape from that fight. One that is not quite as advantageous. The barrage will come through, picks up one, and assists on the second, as Zui picks up a kill or two for himself. Primal Rage forced out of Bullywug as he jumps back to the cart to stall it out some more. And this is looking a little bit better now for Bliss as they finally start to get the kills racked up in their favor. But even so, a very expensive fight for them as they're forced to use 2 ultimates just to move the cart past where they are.
They're still contested, so I've not been able to make it to the checkpoint. UG Red has put up a great defense. Now Rhino's taken down very low. He actually gets taken out as Zhao is able to take him out. And with 3 ultimates up for Bliss, they should be able to make it to this checkpoint. But it's still
Bullywug stalling out just a tad as he jumps back out. Looks like they're going to try and contest perhaps, or will they let it go? They do choose to let the checkpoint tick out. However, a decently good defense from them, as the side of Bliss now setting up for that second point attack, but a very aggressive play here as with the gates opening, the side of UG Red just going to jump right in with that dive, and the kill will go out short. He does go down immediately. That Mercy being very, very potent in this case. The sound barrier out now from the defense. A lot of ults just to leave spawn essentially now for the side of UG Red as Fat Chop in the back line jumps right back out. Does not quite find what he's looking for, and Scooty forced out of mech. End this fight here for the defense.
Bliss definitely coming out on top here as this one gets underway. Rez will come in there on Bayani just to keep this one going. Bliss will come out on top in this fight, and they're going to keep this payload moving as they start to head their way over to the next checkpoint. 3 ults up for both teams, about to be 4. Fat Chop actually switches over to the Soldier off of the Doomfist. Why do you think he's going to switch over to Soldier?
They may be finding that
he actually just got taken out.
The pulse got right on him. He leaves spawn. But this is going to be, I think this is a bit of a pick against the Pharah. Without the Zen, this is going to be very, very tough here for Fat Chop on the Soldier as the Rocket Barrage comes through, but Fat Chop will take that stationary target with much gusto. And the Pulse Bomb now on MooshuBeef stands still. The Sound Barrier comes through. Primal Rage out from him as the Valkyrie used right away to keep the fight going. So both support ultimates used now for the side of UG Red. And this is looking a little bit better now for Bliss.
Bliss is coming out on top as this one continues. On 2 players down already for UG Red. The Pulse Bomb's going to come out, and he'll take out Bullywug at that. MooshuBeef's going to dive onto the back lines. He'll take out Baker, and now they're going to completely force out UG Red as Bliss comes out on top again. It's Rhino in here still trying to defend this payload the best he can, but they're going to force him away. And it looks like Bliss should be able to take it to the second checkpoint here, and Bliss is doing a great job of moving this payload, and they're going to hit the next checkpoint. Well, actually, UG Red's going to come in and try to defend this. They're going to try to put up a last stand as Fat Chop does get a pick there on a shorty. Codfishy will go down as well from the self-destruct. MooshuBeef will sit right up here on the point. Tremillo will get taken out, and as this fight continues on, UG Red is coming out on top as they put up their defense. But now MooshuBeef will get taken out as Bullywug gets that kill. Bullywug is down very low, but he still has Healer Seal and Primal Rage ready, and it looks like after that fight got underway, Bliss was off to a decent start, but at the end, UG Red will come out on top, and they'll put up a good defense. But still just 120 remaining for Bliss. We'll see if they can reach the second checkpoint.
Very clean fight there. Actually, a great contest by Rhino. Not only did he contest time off the cart early under the bridge, but also managed to get back with full HP to get the reset on the checkpoint to, sort of continue the fight, and a great play to pick up both the Mercy and the Lucio from the side. Scooty with an early pick, however, so this is going to mean that more time is spent, and now with 6 days left of this lock, it's go time for the side of Bliss. Self-destruct out, the Pulse Bomb picks up both supports, and Scooty not nearly enough there with the self-destruct, the Primal Rage to keep Bullywug alive. And it's just the 2 tanks left on cart with the reset, though, as it's going to be the full power of the attack here from Bliss as they bring their power to bear. The Resurrect not going to be coming through, but the Valkyrie will be used. A very aggressive Resurrect there from Codfishy, and does sacrifice himself with that self-destruct.
is now down to last 20 seconds. And Bliss, all but the cleanup. And they will continue that, as Rhino the only one left, but not for long. And a full capture here, but they do reduce a lot of time here on that second point to UG Red.
Yes, that was a long fight there. It was off to a good start for it's off to a good start as they were able to take out both the supports, like you said, but still a very long fight. And they lost a lot of time. Now they just have 130 to get this one all the way for all 3 points. But a lot of ultimates up for Bliss, but Scooty's going to dive right in to take out Shorty. Fat Chop will go down as well, so it's currently a 5v5. The Dragon Blade will come out from Bayani. He'll dash in. Zhao will take out a couple. And Bayani will dive in. He wants to get Codfishy, but Codfishy's able to dive away as this fight continues on. Neither team really able to get a big advantage. UG Red putting up a good defense, still a minute on the clock. As this fight continues on, looks like UG Red's going to come out on top. And Bliss will be forced away just with a minute left. They'll have to regroup and reset for another attack.
UG with a victory, UG Red with a victory there, but a Pyrrhic victory at best, as they used a lot without taking much from their attackers. And they're going to have to reset here for the final defense. And not much left in the bank aside from a Primal Rage slowly and the Transcendence quickly, as the dive comes in now from the attacker. Bliss looking to play very aggressively. Valkyrie out right away and Soundbanger, so both defensive ults used simultaneously from our attacking side. Self-destruct brought out right away. Will find anything? No, it lands on a bridge up top. And not much value from it. Rhino versus Xiao. The Tracer retrace to duel, and both find it not really in their favor, so they back off from each other. As the Meteor Strike, not going to find anyone either. So Fat Chop not really finding value with his ultimates so far in this match compared to the last one. Does zone Xiao out, just the slightest. But Bayani, I should say, will take the level up first. Defensive Valkyrie out now as overtime is in effect, but the kills are popping up red. Codfishy does manage to get that very aggressive resurrect off on Rhino, so playing a little bit to his strengths it seems, as Rhino will win that Tracer 1v1, and now it's him versus the world as the Dragon Blade comes through. Bullywug picking up a kill or two, and now that Dragon Blade, not very much value whatsoever, as Fat Chop's going to come in with the cleanup, and this is looking very, very good here for UG Red, as now the last 2 heroes on the cart, and 1 remaining. Shorty, not long for this world. And the stall comes through, and that will be it. Round 1 complete. 2 points captured, 2.5 for Bliss. And back to the attack it goes for UG Red.
The overtime wick burned down. They were able to take it a pretty good distance. And it seems that UG Red is going to have their work cut out for them. Like you said, about 2.5. They'll have to take it quite almost all the way for them to be able to pick up the win here on Dorado. So we'll see what UG Red is going to roll with on their attack as they get prepped. So far, still rolling with the same. We'll see what the 2 supports decide to go with. If they decide to go with their current heroes, Rhino on Tracer, Bullywug on the Winston, and then the Doomfist and the Diva. Exactly what they played in the last round. We saw Fat Chop switch over to Soldier momentarily, but let's not have been happy with it as he's back on the Doomfist. And we'll see what the supports decide to go with as UG Red sets up for their attack.
I'm curious to see if there's going to be a similar defensive setup from the side of Bliss. That aggressive defensive hold, that defensive dive. Or if they're going to do a little bit more of a passive play. Numbani is known, at least in ladder, for being somewhere where you can spam through choke really easily with that sort of combination of Junkrat and Orisa. But with a coordinated dive, that sort of pressure just falls apart, essentially. So if they do end up running that, it'll be very interesting to me. The other thing that's really interesting so far in this series, Fat Chop has been running this Doomfist a bunch. In fact, I think we've seen him mostly on Doomfist, aside from maybe 1 or 2 lives on the Soldier. And I think there was one play on Oasis where he was Pharah, perhaps. But in all honesty, he's played this Doomfist relatively well, providing a lot of hassle for the side of, for Bliss to deal with.
Well, as they set up their defense, Bliss is going to roll with a squad that has, aside from Mercy, 5 heroes we've seen very little of on the first map, over on the control point, and now here on their attack on Dorado. The only person that we've really seen is Mercy. We saw a little bit of Soldier, but Junkrat, Roadhog, Orisa, haven't seen much of them at all. So we'll see what they decide to do with this setup as they set up for their defense. Rhino He's going to dive in here into the back lines and try to disrupt it. He'll actually get taken out by Zhao. And as the first fight gets underway, Bliss is going to come out on top and be able to negate UG Red's first attack. They'll be forced to back up and wait for Rhino and Fat Chop to come back. Both the DPS were taken out, and Bliss just 45 seconds in, but they're off to a good start on their defense.
That was just a bit of a strange attack by UG Red there, as they had all the advantage going to that fight. They forced the side of Bliss off the high ground, and then the DPS got a little trigger happy and jumped in without the tank line. But here comes that next fight as the bubble goes down, so Bullywug will press the issue, providing a lot of space for his team as he says, come here, look at me. They're just going to rotate up high, see what areas of attack are available, but does not seem to be much. The hook comes out from Zui, misses, and that's going to allow the engage to come in. Bullywug, though, jumping into a world of hurt, and Scooty follows up for much, not much more. There are 2 kills coming from the attack, so it does look like they've broken that hard point, as Rhino and Fat Chop do a deadly dance in the back line, and Shorty finds the hard end of that, or the business end of that fist, I should say. Rhino hooked in, but not killed. A very strange series of events there. So only the tanks and the Junkrat left on the cart. This could be the area that the attackers are looking for. Bullywug managed to jump out, keep his life. The Transcendence comes through. Scooty picks up the kill. Necessarily, yes. Rhino with the finish up. And that's going to be Fat Chop with the meteor strike to clean up the remainder. As Bayani forced to run for his life nearly to that tactical visor. But the tank, he zones him out. And Bayani not going to be able to do much with that. Tactical visor or no, that will be a point capture for UG Red.
Fat Chop absolutely dived into the backlines and was a force throughout that entire fight. The entire fight, he was completely disrupting everyone, was able to take out both supports. Now he's going to dive in right in here to the middle yet again and try to force Bliss back as UG Red tries to move this point. Fat Chop has played great this entire attack. We'll see if he can keep it up.
Unfortunately for our defensive end of Bliss, they didn't have a full 6 there as Viana had died late. And that's going to force the Valkyrie out in a losing fight from the side of Bliss. Softy doing what he can to keep the team healed up, but Fat Chop providing a world of hurt. Attack Visor comes through, picks up Scooty. The Pulse Bomb not finding much value. Perhaps taking the shield out from Winston. Riptire not finding anything at all. As a great recall from Tracer to keep herself alive. Rhino staying there. Bullywug does go down, but may not mean enough if the frags do come through. Tremillo is the one who's going to fall right after, as Fat Chop yet again does die. So looks like a reset here as Zhao picks up a double kill. And a great return there from Bliss as they reset and recalibrate after a rather blistering offense from UG Red.
Bliss comes out on top and is able to hold them for that fight. But UG Red has played great. We'll see if they can keep it up as they continue their attack. Fat Chop has the Meteor Strike ready. Rhino with the Pulse Bomb as well. So we'll see if they can get back here and set these up. Rhino is going to try to make his way into the back lines with the Pulse Bomb ready. Bullywug is going to dive in, and like Zhao gets taken out already by Fat Chop. That was the Meteor Strike. Rhino still with the Pulse Bomb ready. As this fight gets underway, UG Red's definitely come out on top. Zhui will get stuck, and Rhino will get that kill. UG Red definitely coming out on top of this, in this fight. MooshuBeef will get knocked out of mech, and they will be able to push this all the way to the second checkpoint. They're going to have a lot of time to be able to beat Bliss's distance.
If I had one quick criticism for UG Red, it's that to win a lot of these fights, they're being forced to use a lot of ultimates. Ultimates that I don't think they necessarily need to. That said, that fight continues. Scooty jumps right on in. They're going to zone out the tanks. The dive return tanks now from the defense. As a self-destruct from Scooty zones everyone out. The tanks separated from their backline. Riptire comes through. Will it find much value? Shao looking, finds it. And that's going to be a defensive hold for now, as that's going to be 3 kills in the span of not much time. And that's going to be Bliss, for the moment, taking a breather.
Bliss will take the win there as that fight comes to an end. Good Riptire was able to come in and find Fat Chop. Fat Chop has definitely been someone that they want to take out. He has played great on Doomfist in this round. The last couple rounds, last couple games has been a little questionable. It's a little all over the place, but he has been on point here for UG Red's attack. And as they get ready for this next fight, Tremillo is going to get taken out immediately as Fat Chop gets that pick. And now down to support, this fight will get underway, and UG Red has the numbers advantage. Fat Chop will get taken out though as Bionic gets that kill, but UG Red still coming out on top. As this fight continues on, Rhino is trying to focus down Bayani. Bayani's forced to jump away. Now let's switch the focus over to Shorty, and Rhino gets him. And UG Red still coming out on top as they push this point. They're coming very close to the win here. The payload's coming very close. The Transcendence will come out from Tremillo, and they're going to come in and try to put up a final defense here. Masiba will get knocked out of mech. Rhino's going to fall, though. I believe it was his own pulse bomb that took him out. And now as this fight continues on right up here on the point, UG Red is still coming out on top. Bliss trying to put up their final defense. The Rocket Barrage will come out from Bayani and take out no one. And it looks like UG Red will take the win here on Dorado as they are able to beat Bliss's distance.
UG Red with a very clean final fight, dropping a couple of heroes here and there, but definitely pulling out more kills than they gave up, and with such a short distance to travel. I mean, what more can you say? A very aggressive play, some good play from the tanks, as we see a play of the game here from Bullywug, the main tank player here for UG Red on this final push, this final play with the Primal Rage, picks up a 3 kills for himself, and gets the zoning area for his team for the win. So we are tied up here 1-1 between these two teams, UG Red, Ungentleman Red, and Bliss, our two teams of the night. And a tale of two teams, I think you could say. Bliss, a very aggressive play on Oasis. They really zoned Ungentleman Red out rather handily on Oasis. But Bliss coming back and with a much cleaner game really showed that they were the stronger team for most of the map here on Dorado.
And we will jump into round 3, game 3, as it goes 1-1. Excited to see what both teams are going to come out with as we get ready for game 3. Looks like Assault will be where we go.
And I think, speaking of Assault, this is one of the game modes that really benefits teamwork. I mean, this is a team game in general, Overwatch of course, but Assault maps specifically really take that to the next level. A well-coordinated offense is sometimes the only way to break the hard point, to take that capture point. And so Hanamura is the next map we're going to go into. And I think this is a great example. This one, Temple of Anubis, Horizon Lunar Colony, and Volsai Industries, of course, being the options available. But that said, I think we've seen, like I said, the two teams playing massively differently over two different maps. One team being the better team and the other on the other. I think necessarily you're going to need to see both these teams provide a much more aggressive, coordinated offense. And by contrast, the same thing can be said about defense. If you want to sort of see any sort of success here on these Assault maps, I'm looking to see basically the performance from UG Red on Dorado and the performance of Bliss on Oasis, but together on Hanamura. And I think that's sort of what we can see. Maybe these teams are just warming up, of course, but I hope to see that kind of, coordination as we move into this Assault map specifically.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree that I hope that, we see the Dorado UG Red and the control point Bliss. It's what I hope we see, in that both squads bring their A games here for this final round. Because like you said, UG Red, they came out the much more aggressive type composition there on attack for Dorado, and obviously worked out great for them. It wasn't like it was a close one there at the end, as they were able to push that point. They pushed it all the way with a lot of time left. So I hope that UG Red is able to keep up their momentum here as we get on to Hanamura, as we get ready for game 3. I'm excited to see if UG Red is able to keep it up and how Bliss will rebound.
I find it kind of interesting, as we have been mentioning, sort of the theme, I think, of this broadcast has been sort of the support picks. I find it interesting to see that Mercy has been near unanimously picked so far today, and I'm not sure if that's just a comfort pick or if that's sort of indication of what these players feel the strongest support is. But it's definitely not the meta shakeup that we sort of expected. The one thing that we are noticing, however, though, is that Valkyrie is not an instant win. In the previous patch, the team that had Valkyrie up won the fight. That was a near unanimous, expectation. In fact, if you lost a fight and you used Valkyrie last, quite often it's because you made a huge mistake. And so to see the teams using Valkyrie but not having an instant win button is definitely nice for sure.
Yes, like you said, it was something that I was very interested to see, and something I was looking forward to for these games is what the support picks were going to be. But like you said, it's been still a lot of Mercy. We were curious to see what the changes, if they were going to factor in at all to these teams and who they were going to pick. But still a lot of Mercy from both teams in these games. And right now, UG Red is going to roll with Lucio Zin for the moment, but Bliss still with Mercy over on their side.
I think this is one of the more interesting comps. We're seeing a little bit of Reinhardt Zarya here from the defensive side. This is uncommon. We don't see a lot of Reinhardt. Reinhardt's not exactly what you would call strong right now. Zarya is, but only when paired with a tank that you can really work off of. And Ryan definitely is one of those heroes. However, the attackers will go for that very aggressive dive comp. They're running the Lucio Zen, so the dive comp of old. And Rhino into that backline immediately, looking for Tremillo, and he spots him. Will he be able to get the frag? It will be. That a very aggressive drive comes through. Mercy gonna go down as well, so Rhino picks up 2 for himself. And this is gonna be the defense answering back in turn as both tanks go down. But still not quite even as Baker does get trapped here, and he will be not long for this world as a result. So the defense losing a whole lot, but they do manage to hold, at least for the moment.
That does look like Bliss will be able to hold as this one gets underway. But UG Red, but they were off to a great start. Rhino was able to dive in right into the back lines and be able to cause a disruption. And that forces Bliss to move back to the point and not hold right there at the archway. UG Red will use this as their advantage as Tremillo gets taken out already. So with 1 pick down for UG Red, they're gonna want to push the issue here. MooshuBeef goes down as well as Rhino's able to get both those kills. Fat Chop will dive in here as he tries to focus down. Actually, Bayani and Shorty both got booped off. So Baker, great play there on Lucio from Baker, is able to boot both of them off the edge, and UG Red will take control point A.
I want to highlight a really great play there from the attacking side. As UG Red, they saw they had only 2 players on the point. So rather than taking a very aggressive play and allowing the defensive side to, sort of meet up with each other, they dived into the people coming back from spawn and won a very easy fight. So a very clean play there from the offense. As now they get set for a point B, but the first kill will go to the defense as they trade out. And unfortunately, assault maps in general need a lot of snowball power. However, they are making the team come through as the self-destruct comes in. It's going to pick up Bayani, who wasn't in play. That is very unfortunate. Both support ultimates used now. One from the offense, one from the defense. Transcendence comes through, keeps his team alive. The Valkyrie not finding much value right now as MooshuBeef's caught in a corner by himself. He will go down. The contest, will it be enough? The kill, not a resurrect in time as Tremillo is boxed out. Bayani gets hit with a pulse bomb. Self-barrier expires, and that's going to be a first point attack. That's going to be a first point take. Round 1 complete. 2 points to 0. 5:39 left on the clock.
Wow, 2-0 with 5:39. It's a lot of time. A lot of time for UG Red. We'll have to see how Bliss can regroup. It's just 5:39. They were able to take that very, very quickly.
Again, and that's just off of great offensive play on first point by UG Red. They isolated their enemy. They really turned them inside out. They took a fight, and then they staggered the spawns. And when they went in for the second point attack, there wasn't really a whole lot that Bliss could do to sort of stand up. And one thing these maps are very known for is how much of a snowball can happen if you lose point A in a tremendous fashion, which, quite frankly, Bliss did. And Bliss, now with a monumental task here, as they are set to take that second attack and a time of 5:39 to capture the second point. That's pretty staggering.
A lot of time for UG Red. And like you said, UG Red, the way that they were able to take point A and they wasted no time, they gave Bliss no time to breathe as they jumped over to point B, and they were able to take it with almost no defense at all from Bliss. So we'll see how Bliss can regroup, how they can get set for their attack, because they're going to have their work cut out for them with how quickly UG Red was able to take both points for them. I actually think that Zway, I think that he was having, when I was watching him, it kind of just stalled for a few seconds a couple times. So I don't know if something was happening on his side, but it seems to be okay now as they set up in their spawn and get their heroes chosen. So we'll see how Bliss does here on their attack.
A defensive dive coming yet again from our UG Red, now in the red. As it's going to be Bliss with the slower triple tank composition with Moira as they run directly to point. The Hog fishing, not finding anything, but Scooty is going to find an additional pick, and that's going to be huge for the defense, as no longer the heals are there for that meaty composition. All they've got is the Lucio, the boop, not necessarily finding what he's looking for. Bayani does go down, and swinging away. MooshuBeef with that Reinhardt, it's looking a little bit better now as the point is still being contested. MooshuBeef misses his charge, only knocking back the Winston, not actually killing him, and that's going to have to be a reset with not even a tick taken. That 1/3 of a point for our boys in blue.
Where they weren't even able to get one tick despite a decent start there for Bliss, and they had a lot of the point to themselves. They're able to force out Scooty completely off the point, and there goes Zhao. So now with the tank already down, as Fat Chop is able to get that kill, Bliss will again have to wait for him to come back and get set up. They wasted no time running right in there, straight onto the point. But as the fight continued on, UG Red was able to come out on top, and now 2 ultimates are up for UG Red.
MooshuBeef gets stuck, drops this pulse bomb onto his supports. That's going to be 3 kills, 2 ults used for our defensive side, and with some misery, our team Bliss not exactly living up to their name, as that's going to be a reset now from the attackers, and they're going to try and chase them back to spawn our UG Red. It's going to be a full reset here, as they aren't finding much entryway whatsoever with his tank composition. Shao not finding any purchase with that Widow whatsoever, and Reinhardt, MooshuBeef just getting taken apart by this defensive setup from UG Red.
Bliss will set up for another attack, and MooshuBeef does have the Earth Shatter now. So it's a big ult up for Bliss to try to get this fight ready. They're down to less than 2 minutes for them to get in here on point A, but Zhao is gone already as Rhino is able to chase him all the way back and get that kill. But now the rest of Bliss will try to push in. MooshuBeef's really trying to focus down Fat Chop. Fat Chop's trying to run away. The self-destruct is going to come out. Not able to get anyone, though. As the fight continues on, no one really hanging out on the point for Bliss. Now the Earth Shatter is ready. We'll see what Bliss decides to do.
And without that backline pressure from the Widow, this composition is just falling apart. Starting to use ultimates, but Bullywug bullying people into a corner with that Primal Rage to pick up 2, and his team's there to clean up the rest. As again, another clean fight here from the defense without any sort of purchase being found. And Bliss, now with their backs against the wall, a minute left on the clock here, as Shao being chased all the way back to spawn.
My ultimate is charged.
There's not a lot of synergy for Bliss. It's just kind of like they're all just kind of running in and trying to doing their own things in these fights. Now they have They have 3 ultimates up. We'll see if they're able to get something together here, because they have less than a minute. Zhao has switched over to Reaper, so they're trying to make a change. Now the tactical visor will come out from Fat Chop. He's going to shoot them as a sound barrier will come out from Tremilla, though, to try to negate it. And Bliss will finally rush in there on the point to try to get in there. But MooshuBeef will get taken out by a good pulse bomb from Rhino. And as the fight continues on, UG Red is again coming out on top. The ultimate will come out from Moira, and Zhao will fall. Shorty's in there trying to do what he can, but it doesn't really matter because the rest of his team is going down. And as the fight is about to come to an end, Rhino will be able to take out Bayani. Now, as the fight comes to an end, it looks like it's about to be the game coming into an end as well, as UG Red with another successful defense. It looks like they're going to be able to hang on here, but Bliss will try to set up for a last-ditch effort on attack.
Zui with that Graviton Surge. This is the game right here on the line. They do have 1 checkpoint taken, so they do have that 1/3 of a point, and they will have to get some value out of this Graviton Surge, but Graviton Surge doesn't capture much at all, and Transcendence negates whatever is left. The Valkyrie comes through from the defense, and both support ultimates used now, so MooshuBeef swinging away, taken out right away as a result. Zui with that high energy, but Rhino on a mission, damage boosted by his Valkyrie Mercy. That's going to be the defense with a clean result here. Stuck, forced out of mech, but that's going to be all that she wrote as the finish comes through, and UG Red with a very, very clean setup here, both on attack and on defense, and a commanding victory.
That was definitely Dorado UG Red that we saw on Game 3 here on Hanamura. So we get to play the game here from Baker. I believe, yep, this was the boop right there. Both of them knocked right off the edge. And that was a great start for them to be able to try to come in and take this point. But as the game comes to an end, UG Red will take it 2-1. Definitely That was definitely Dorado. Dorado, UG Red on Hanamura. They were able to bring their A game, and they will take it 2-1.
Very clean victory there for our UG Red, as finally matching up with the team colors on Hanamura. As we're going to get set for our next map. As we're, I should say, UG Red taking 2 maps, so they took Dorado and Hanamura. And Oasis going to our second team here, Bliss. And it's looking for that next map pick. Most likely an escort map in this regard. So that pure payload map as being the next one. Or sorry, I should say hybrid, which is, of course, not necessarily full escort, but definitely a combination of both assault and escort for that sort of hybrid-esque type.
We will see. I'm excited to see what they bring out on hybrid. I've seen UG Red usually plays pretty well on hybrid from my experiences in casting them, and I'm interested to see what they come out. They definitely have the momentum on their side. They've won the last 2, and they've won the last 2 in pretty convincing fashion. Has UG Red, so we'll have to see how Bliss can regroup and try to pull themselves back together as we get ready. Looks like it's going to be King's Row, and actually, I'm pretty sure if I go over here and look, Team Bliss, their favorite map is King's Row. So this may be Bliss's chance to get the momentum back onto their side and tie this at 2-2.
King's Row is one of those classic maps, you know? It's one of the maps that is old school in the old school. I mean, as old school as Overwatch can possibly be, but it's definitely up there in how much it's been scrimmed, how much it's been practiced, how much people just genuinely like this map.
It's sort of the Dust 2 of Overwatch.
So we will just make sure that both of our competitors, or both teams of competitors, I should say, are ready.
Yeah, there's something else. Like I said, I was watching him. I was watching the Zui on the during the game on Hanamura, and there was a couple times that he would mid-fight just kind of stop moving. So it looks like they're going to sub him out. Must have something to do with that. So, like I said, I saw a couple times that he just kind of came to a sudden stop mid-fight and wasn't moving at all. So, looks like Bliss will bring in a sub. And looks like it's going to be Ace, I think they said was his name. So, we'll get set up for the map here on King's Row.
I think this is one of the places where we've seen historically the Ryan Zarya make a comeback, especially in the streets phase of King's Row, which is a lot more narrow. It's a lot more open to that sort of brawling style that Reinhardt and Zarya like. But an interesting showing, I think, historically on King's Row. And I wonder if these teams will continue with that style, or if they're going to choose to play something else, whether that be dive or whether that be dive is also pretty decent on first point, so we could still see it, of course. Later on throughout the map, though, it's a little bit slower, I guess you could say, and definitely more favoring of the Reinhardt type compositions or Orisa, as we just wait to make sure that our final player is in lobby. So a little bit of technical difficulties, but we shall be shortly fixing them.
And we have seen a lot of, like you said, it's been a lot of dive from both teams. So we'll see if they keep it up here on King's Row. Like you said, the dive is a popular composition to run for the first attack point. And here is Bliss's sub. Ace will come in. I believe he's going to flex into DPS as... Yes, so Bayani is going to switch over to tank. Ace will be playing DPS. So I'm interested to see how Bayani plays on tank, because he's played very well on DPS throughout the games, but in the last 2, obviously, UG Red has just completely swarmed him and not given Bliss a chance. So we'll see. King's Row, according to the notes, is Bliss's favorite map. We'll see if they can use this to get the momentum back onto their side. Now they have the wild card coming in, Ace. We'll see if he can come in and give Bliss what they need to take game 4 in their favor.
All right. So both teams look like they are ready. And so with that, the entrance continues and our series as well, as Athena lets us know exactly what map it is. And much thanks we get for that. So defense will be UG Red, and Bliss will be attacking. So again, the colors are swapped. A little bit confusing, I think, for our audience.
Confusing for me. It's always confusing when UG Red is on blue. But Ace, first time we've seen him, and it looks like he, as they begin their hero selection, looks like he's going to choose Genji. We'll see if that's what they decide to stick with. Many times we've seen them choose something and then switch over. But Ace, the new man in the game, going to start with Genji as they set up for their attack, does Bliss. And it's going to be, if they decide to keep this, Shorty chooses Ana. It'll be the first time we've seen an Ana in these first 3 games. So we'll see if he decides to stick with Ana. Zhao gonna be on Tracer. Oh wait, he's gonna switch over to Mei. We've seen him a lot on that Tracer. That's something I would expect him to go with as he switches back to it. Obviously a comfort pick for him. He's played a lot of that. And
I think we can highlight sort of the defensive picks here. Is they're already a triple tank with a Moira and a Junkrat. So this is gonna be a little bit more of that big composition that Moira has been sort of. I don't know if she's been enabling necessarily, but she definitely complements. As Fat Chop now moving to another hero, so he's picking up off the Doomfist and onto the Junkrat, and continues his reign of terror on insta-kills.
Only the second time we've seen him, I believe, on something besides Doomfist. It's been a lot of Doomfist. Like we said, he was on Soldier for a short time, and right when you brought that up, I was about to switch over as I saw Rhino was on the Zarya, but as we get underway, Bliss will begin their attack. Zhao is going to try to dive right in here into the back lines. He's going to jump right in onto the point, try to get in here and try to force a disruption onto UG Red, but UG Red will get a pick as this one gets underway, and Bliss will be down a man. Zhao's still trying to hang out in there, right in there on the point, but he'll get taken out as Bullywug takes him out with a hammer. And as the game gets underway, UG Red will wipe the floor with Bliss and completely negate their first attack.
I mean, very early frag there from our resident Junkrat player, Fat Chop, and that's going to be another one there as Ace goes down. Very close to that the Spirit Dragons, the Hanzo ultimate. But that's going to be a very, it turns your attack into a wet noodle if you don't have any sort of point of damage as or healing in this case, as Fat Chop took down the Moira initially. So without the backbone of that, that sort of offense, as the Moira comes through, the hook comes in on MooshuBeef, but so does the Zarya barrier, and the tire from Fat Chop scattered into oblivion. And Ace looking to find something as his team collapses around him. Sonic on the wall, picks off a hit, hits a shot on Bullywug, but Codfishy not paying attention behind him, and Ace free to just pick away at the people in his face. Does a lot of damage without any punishment whatsoever, and already up to 50% on that ultimate, looking Bayani with that Graviton Surge, so they're hoping to build it up as quickly as possible, try and get that combination off, as he rains arrow after arrow into that backline of our defensive Bliss. The Graviton Surge, but the Earthshatter comes in and it's huge! It actually picks up the entirety of the offensive side, the Graviton Surge again afterwards, so both ultimates used from the defense, those great big tank ultimates, those crowd control ultimates, and that's going to be rebuffed yet again, that offense from Bliss.
Bullywug with an outstanding Earthshatter there. Like you said, it was Bayani, I think, that sent out his Graviton Surge, but then Bullywug completely counteracted it with the Earthshatter of his own. And Bullywug was able to come in and be a force there throughout that entire fight. He's on fire right now. 3 ultimates are up for Bliss, though. They only have 130 left, and the Earthshatter will come out from MooshuBeef. The Riptire will come out from Zhao, and wow, 4 kills for the Riptire for Zhao, 5 as he takes out Scooty, and there goes Codfishy, and a great Earthshatter followed by the Riptire there in that fight. Able for Bliss. We're going to get a replay here on that fight.
And I mean, there's not much to add to that replay aside from the fact that it's a huge Earthshatter into a 4K, into a 5K with the mine. And bolstered by the dragons from Ace. That's a first point capture for our red team, Bliss. And they do use a lot for that, but they do capture the point. And Zhao now on this on this Junkrat, I should say, dodges the hook, but not the right click. And that's going to be a kill yet again as the entry, the defense looking to set up very aggressively here as they manage to respawn, of course, as 6. One of the downsides of dying as a team is that you respawn as a team. Fat Chop now on the counter. Hanzo picks up a kill of his own, and what he says, what you can do, I can do better. Ace responding in turn, Graviton Surge used, the Earthshatter as well, and this is going to be a huge play from Bayani as he basically single-handedly turns this fight around. That high energy Zarya, a huge Graviton Surge, and that's just ultimate for ultimate now from both teams.
Despite a decent start to that fight for UG Red, Bliss was able to come out on top, like you said, following a great Graviton Surge from Bayani. Pretty much single-handedly turned that fight in their favor, and they were able to come in with a great wombo combo for the Earthshatter and the Riptire, and it kind of looked like UG Red was going to come in and try to set up their defenses again, but like you said, huge Graviton Surge from Bayani was able to turn that fight in their favor. Now the Riptire is going to come
the corner, picks off one with the with the scatter arrow. The Dragon's right after the Riptire with it, and that's going to be 2 kills for our offense. As defense now find themselves scattered and in disarray, no pun intended, off that scatter arrow kill, as the Moira tries to use the Coalescence, but to no avail, taken out immediately. And Baker, the last one left alive, just zips away calmly, quietly in the high ground, but that will be second point capture for Bliss here on King's Row.
They are able to take it to the second checkpoint. 3 ultimates up for Bliss as they try to set up for their final attack. A lot of ultimates about to come up though for UG Red as they get this underway. The Earthshatter ready from MooshuBeef, and we saw what he was able to do with that last time. There's the Earthshatter though from Bullywug, and this fight will get underway, and UG Red is a clean sweep as this one gets underway. It's just Tremillo and Zhao, and they're forced to back away. Zhao's right up here in the middle, and he's not going to have a lot of places to go as Bullywug able to take him out with a swing of the hammer. And still a lot of time, but as that fight got underway, UG Red comes out on top.
A strange decision there from Tremillo, as the fight was already over when he used that Coalescence. And coming to this next fight, having all their ultimates online would be a benefit, as they do have the Graviton Surge, that Earthshatter, the Nano Boost as well. They do have the fight win that they need. Bayani gets hooked in. That high energy gets the Graviton Surge up, the Sound Barrier as well. They're going to find 2 kills from the defense. And the Bionade comes in for a second, but that's not nearly enough, as with that whole hog and the Sound Barrier, the defense will rebuff the offense in this area, and they're going to go back up and chase whatever remaining kills they can find, and not many. But that will be enough for a hold. Very clean hold right now. A very aggressive, somewhat impatient play from the offense. They seem to be wasting ultimates for no real apparent reason.
2 great fights for UG Red as they set up for their defense. Here, as they try to push to the last point, does Bliss. We'll see. There's the Earthshatter from MooshuBeef, but I think it might have got blocked the whole thing by Bullywug's shield, so complete lost Earthshatter there for MooshuBeef, and the fight's going to continue on. It looks like UG Red is coming out on top. Really not a lot of full commitment here. The Riptire is going to come out from Zhao. He'll send it up and over, but they see it, and he is able to take out Bullywug with it, as UG Red knew exactly where it was, but they were able to take it. The Graviton Surge will come out from Rhino. He's got a lot of the team, but the Reinhardt shield is able to hold a lot of them off, and Fat Chop is actually able to take out Ace. So as the fight continues on, Bliss is coming out on top despite a great Graviton Surge from Rhino. Bliss is still able to push them back. They're making their way towards this final checkpoint. A Riptire is going to come out from Fat Chop. He'll send this one into the back lines. He's able to take out Bayani with it. And now UG Red is starting to come out on top as they set up another defense. They're able to push Bliss back. Bliss now with only a minute to try to reach this one to the final checkpoint as UG Red pushes them back.
I want to highlight a great play from that nullified MooshuBeef's Earthshatter. Scooty managed to read the play just in time, get the hook out, and completely nullify MooshuBeef's Earthshatter before he even was able to really activate it, as the hook came through and interrupted that animation. But so a lost Earthshatter there and a great Graviton Surges. Bayani's been building it really, really quickly, being at that high energy, but a great Earthshatter from Bullywug there as he picks up 4. The Riptire Shao, though, comes in. It's going to pick up the 2 tanks in the front line, and it's going to be the defense, however, pushing forward, at least aggressively, trying to salvage that Earthshatter. and not much for this world as Rhino, off the back of a great play by Tremillo, 2 kills there. Another one as the supports are starting to frag out here. Tremillo in that front line looking, not really finding what he's aiming for. But at least in the short term here, MooshuBeef caught out in the trap, gets nano boosted, and then gets destroyed by a combination of Junkrat. The Graviton Surge now from the defense. It's going to capture everyone. Overtime in effect. Overtime ticking out. The wick, the candle burns, and she is finished. Round 1 complete, and not a completion for Bliss.
Great defense. Great defense from UG Red there at the end. It was like after they reached that second checkpoint, they were just not able to take it all the way as UG Red set up a great defense. After Bliss reached the second checkpoint, it was like UG Red kicked into another gear. They didn't give Bliss a chance to try to reach that third point, but they were able to take it quite a ways. So UG Red will set up for their attack. We'll see if they're able to take it as far as they did. I'm interested to see what kind of defense comes out from Bliss as they set up theirs, because like you stated, it was a triple tank for UG Red. I wonder if Bliss will run the same thing. If they go with the squad, the composition they have at the moment, then nope, there we go. No, they're still going to roll with the 2 and 2 and 2. The standard for Bliss, standard composition. No triple tank for them.
And an Ana coming out here on the defense. So we're seeing that combination of Ana and Moira from our side of Bliss here. They seem to be very content to run it on offense. And so it looks like defense will be their continuation of that play. And it seems to be something they do on King's Row specifically, as we'd not see this composition from them on any other map.
Yes, this is the only time we've seen Ana, like you said. So, like you said, definitely seems like something they specifically run on King's Row. Like it says in their team notes, this is one of their favorite maps. So it makes sense that they have specific team compositions set up for this map. Now UG Red will set up on their attack, and it's Fat Chop on Doomfist yet again.
Fat Chop with his ever-present pick. Seems to be something he really enjoys playing. They're going to set up for that play. They're going to be running that very heavy composition, that triple tank. UG Red, Bullywug walking in, but the kills are traded out. Ace goes down, and Fat Chop is not content with 1, picks up 2, and MooshuBeef returns in time. But right now, without the tank, this is going to mean that the side of UG Red is going to have much more presence on point, and they already take 1 and perhaps even 2 thirds of the point without being really contested, and perhaps even all the way to 3 as they're going to walk in and take this first point with no issues whatsoever off the play of some brilliant Doomfist by Fat Chop here.
UG Red wastes no time taking the point and getting the payload moving. And Fat Chop, like you said, off to a great start. He's going head-to-head right here with Bayani. That's a big Zarya. He's forced to jump away. Fat Chop off to a great start for UG Red as they get this payload moving. Still trying to focus down Bayani as they go head-to-head here, and Bayani's very low. Fat Chop and Bayani actually just kind of stopped and let him have the kill as he knew Fat Chop was out on top there in that 1v1. UG Red is trying to push in. Wow, a great pin there from Bullywug will take out Zhao. UG Red is just not giving Bliss a chance to breathe as they push right into their spawn.
Very close hook there from Scooty. The Meteor Strike comes through. It's going to pick up 1. Or rather, the Fire Strike will pick up 1. And I mean, Fire Strike, Meteor Strike, fairly close. A very aggressive grab from Rhino. He's going to walk into their spawn with this Graviton. Picks up a kill. Picks up 2. They'll pick up Bayani for good measure. And this is just in their spawn. And on the cart, all alone, Baker having the time of his life. Better not be kicked for that AFK timer, as they're going to capture the second point with exactly 0 contest. And Shao forced to wraith away before dying here. And again, UG Red giving no quarter here. As now ultimates are being forced, but at a great Earthshatter picks up 1. And forces the Coalescence out. They are literally not letting them leave the spawn doors here, are UG Red. Spawn camping to their entire ability. So
No,
Bliss
UG
forced
Red
to use ultimates just to leave the spawn doors.
Yes, UG Red has ever since they've taken the point. Bliss has not had the opportunity to do anything. Like you said, they took the second checkpoint with literally no defense at all. Bayani was their only defense, and he got killed in a one-on-one with Fat Chop. Now they're going to set up their last stand, but MooshuBeef's taken out already, and UG Red, as this one gets underway, is coming out on top. Yet again, the Meteor Strike will come out, and he'll take out Shorty. Bullywug will take out Chamilo. Fat Chop with another kill on Bayani. Ace will come in with the Dragon Blade, but I don't know if he's going to have much of a fight here. There he goes, and UG Red with a steamroll of Bliss on King's Row.
UG Red was not contested on their attacking round once. They literally ran roughshod over Bliss through the entirety of the attack round. And this play of the game was at 4K off of Brilliant Earthshatter from Bullywug, or sorry, off of MooshuBeef, I should say. A Brilliant Earthshatter there. And well played spray for sure indeed. And what more to say? UG Red literally ran roughshod over them the entirety of the attack round.
It was incredible the way that UG Red ran over them. The way that after they took that first checkpoint, it's hard for me to articulate the stomp that UG Red just had. After they took that first checkpoint, that was it. They just waltzed right on in for the win. Bliss was not able to regroup in any way to set up for a defense. But it looks like Bliss is unable to play a game 5. So that is how it will end, as UG Red takes the win on King's Row, and Bliss, no chance to defend there.
UG Red with a clean King's Row, and actually, after dropping Oasis in a actually rather handy fashion, absolutely destroyed on the following 3 maps, taking our Cedars 3-1 as they completely annihilated Bliss on the later maps.
Well, that will do it for us. Great games for us to cast. UG Red, despite losing there on the first map, they were able to come back after losing on Oasis 2-0. They're able to come back strong and play great in the next 3 maps and take all of them for themselves.
And I think before we sign off, a couple of notes from our broadcast today. There were definitely highlights from that last map aside. There were definitely highlights from Bliss. They showed some promise. I mean, there was some great play in terms of how they combined with their Fire Mercy, especially on the initial maps where they didn't really let UG Red set up, but later on came back. UG Red came back. I think there's definitely stuff. There's definitely room for Bliss to work towards. But in the meantime, just a very aggressive and very potent offense from UG Red, though their defense a bit shaky at times, and their ult economy definitely a little bit suspect in certain moments.
Yes, it seemed like there were communication problems. Like someone didn't know when they wanted to bring one out, and there wasn't a lot of synergy. And it was UG Red at the end that. I mean, as we saw in the last 3 maps, it was all UG Red. When it was on Dorado Bliss, they were able to take it almost all the way, but it took them a lot of time. And then when UG Red got on attack, they took it completely all the way down, completely past Bliss's as far as they went, and they did it with virtually no effort at all. And then we moved on to Hanamura, and we saw how UG Red ran right into point A, took it, and wasted no time going over to point B. Took that with almost no defense on that map as well. And then we saw exactly what happened on King's Row as Bliss had trouble trying to take point A to get the payload moving. They were able to get a great combo from the Earthshatter and the Riptire. And after that, it was UG Red putting up a great defense, and they were able to hold. And then we saw what happened once UG Red got an attack.
I mean, without being able to go back into the VOD right away, I don't really have much more to add to our analysis here off of the backs of those games. But I think some good Overwatch nonetheless, and definitely a pleasure to cast, of course, here tonight.
Absolutely. It's my honor, a pleasure to be here, pleasure to cast these games. Thank you for having me. It was a great... I've seen a lot of UG Red, so it was nice to watch more of them. Obviously, they came out and played great. And I hope to see more of them in the future when I cast. So, also, that was the first time I saw Bliss. and they, like we said, started great on Oasis, but as they continued on UG Red, maybe found some things to adapt to, and just completely turned the tide in their favor. So I'm excited to see more of UG Red. I've seen a lot of them, and I'm excited to see how Bliss comes back.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you everyone for tuning in today. If you're interested in casting one of these matches, or if you're interested in having one of your matches cast, check out Broadcast.gg. You can find an invite to the Discord by doing !Broadcast.gg in the chat. You'll get an invite link straight to our Discord. It's definitely a good time. I hope y'all had fun tonight.
I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Casting is always a great experience for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So without any further ado, I've been Ben Faglow. I've been joined by Elite and Lafon. And thank y'all for tuning in. See you next time.